This is Viewpoint, a presentation of the News and Public Affairs Department of AM 1490 WHBB. We welcome your input on the issues of the day. You can contact us on the Viewpoint line by calling 875-1490. The opinions expressed by our callers and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management and staff of AM 1490 WHBB. And now, here's today's Viewpoint.
And good morning and welcome into the Tuesday morning Viewpoint. For this Tuesday morning, February the 24th, 2026. I'm your host, Randy Williams. How do you feel this morning? Certainly hope your morning is going well. 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. And you can also join us live, excuse me, on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, of course, you can find on the selmapostherald.com. You scroll down a few stories. And also, the link is also provided on our Facebook page, which of course is the Selma Post Herald. 334-875-1490 and 1492. As I promised you earlier, as I said earlier, we have on the line this morning Mr. Burgess Bailey. Mr. Bailey, how are you, sir? I'll tell you, you are really a persistent fella, and you have been on it and on it and on it since the very beginning. And so, you know, here you are, you're back again, but this morning you're in Tuskegee, huh?
Well, we was in there in Tuskegee, and I guess I'm getting feedback echo. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, I got you fine. Unless you're listening to us on one of the other platforms, you may have an echo, but I don't have an echo here. We're good.
Okay, well, it will be my pleasure to come down here and what the goal and objective is. 3 years to acknowledge, honor, and remember. There's 6 soldiers and then all other folks that were in the 60s that were fighting for access to public facilities, voting rights, equal rights and so forth to the restaurants, so forth and so forth. So we want to acknowledge all of those guys throughout the 60s. And we're going to try to set up a mobile Black history display. And so we're going to be in Tuskegee today. Tomorrow, we're going to be in Montgomery. Thursday, we'll be up in Tuscaloosa. And what we're going to highlight up there in Tuscaloosa is, remember the 60s? We're going to Bloody Tuesday. And what happened at the First African Baptist Church, June 9th, 1960. 9 months before Bloody Sunday. Well, that church said about people that they were going to march down to the courthouse. Some other areas that we're going to mention about up there.
Now that's in Tuscaloosa that you're talking about. That Bloody Tuesday happened in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. So we start today. I'm just going to recap here in a minute. What we're going to do is Tuesday, today, we're going to be at the history. I'll give you the address of the place there in Tuskegee. We're going to be up there from 10 to 4. Wednesday, going to be in Montgomery. Thursday, Tuscaloosa at the courthouse. Friday, we're going to be in Marion at the courthouse about 3 o'clock. No. I said about 10 o'clock to a certain time. And then Saturday, we're going to have a motorcade coming from Marion down to Selma, across the bridge, out to White House. That's what Selma is in White House. And then Sunday, guess where we're going to be?
Sunday. I got you. Where you going to be Sunday?
That's the state capitol steps, so we're going to complete that tribute. Jubilee. You know, where the march was set up, they go from Selma to the steps. Take Jubilee back. Well, we're going to complete and we be at the capitol steps from about 10 to 2. That tribute to all the foot soldiers. And I guess I understood that we lost a foot soldier, Miss Joanne Bland. And I guess we're in that ceremony that you have a flag.
Well, you know, you have been persistent and consistent with trying to honor foot soldiers throughout the Black Belt and Selma, you know, including Perry County and Lowndes County. But you've gone a little further. You've gone to Hale County and Marengo County, and you've done the whole gambit. Why do you do this every year?
Carter G. Wilson says General Negro history. And he encouraged folks to take notes so you can acknowledge, honor, and remember these guys. And it also can go to your own family notes. So if you go back to these various high schools throughout the Black Belt region, the majority of the foot soldiers were who? Those high school students. And so that's where we're trying to get some of the names of those guys. It's one thing to recognize folks as a group, foot soldiers. Well, but you want to honor and remember them individually. And for that to happen, you have to do what? Get the name. So that's what this mobile Black History display is about. And then one other step we're taking, we want to draw a contrast. And what we have is, we're going to have pictures of every Vietnam casualty throughout the Black Belt to draw a contrast to the foot soldiers. And what's going to be remarkable is some of the same foot soldiers were Vietnam casualties. For example, how many of you heard the name of Mr. Moody? So that's what's going to be part of that display now on this party. So as we go, pictures of the Vietnam casualties.
Well, you know, and I'm going to upload the interview that you did with Miss Shannon, that you did last year, actually, and it will be uploaded by the time the weekend gets here. And so, how many years have you been doing this now?
Well, we did the first one back in 2021. And of course, that was during COVID, when they had the restrictions and so forth. Okay? So every now and then, what I can do is give a shout out to the Jubilee, because I think they have some incredible things set up.
They're going to start next weekend. You know, the Jubilee starts on March the 5th this year. But what you guys are doing and what you're doing is historically accurate in terms of the first Sunday of March is Bloody Sunday.
Yes. And with that in mind, I'm speaking as I just flashes in my mind. We just have to see. And when I find out details of Miss Wayne. I don't know what the hell the body doing.
I don't have any information yet. No one, you know, the information hasn't been released to me, at least not yet. I've got to do a little I hope to have it, but by the time before you leave, you know, and we'll be in touch over the next couple of days. I'll find out what's going on. And you know how it is, and so I don't know for sure, but I don't have the answer presently. I'm gonna have to do a little digging.
All right, well, I just put in the back of my mind and the thought about sometime Friday evening, but I better wait on and respond to what they have.
I got you. Yeah, yes, sir.
Be up in Marion around the courthouse there that Friday. So then we'll see what carries after 4, 5, 6 o'clock. But nevertheless, people can participate. And we'll figure some way to do something for Miss Wayne because a lot of things she's done. But most of all, two things. Well, I'm the type of person that asks for forgiveness. But I want to put a shout out to Miss Vera Booker and also Miss Shannon for what they're doing. And also all other good soldiers. Let me say all other good soldiers.
Well, when you started, you only had a handful of names. How many names do you have now that you know people have submitted to you?
Well, in various ways, I've gotten about, I don't say we're generating 1,500 some in that neighborhood around the area. So I get a certain balance. We got some from Perry County, Ringo County, Hale County, Green County, and a couple from Sumter, and a couple from Lowndes, but we didn't see how people respond. I'm gonna say I'm not trying to do this for financial gain. I just want to make sure I get that thought out there.
Yeah, you're not making any money off of this thing. Some of us can't wrap our heads around that because we don't understand what unselfishness or purpose is all about. We're so busy tearing each other down, you know, some of us, until we don't appreciate a lot of times sincerity or being students of history.
I understand that, but I just hope folks can receive it the way I truly mean it, because suddenly I'm going to get back up the road and I got 500 miles to get back to North Carolina.
Wow. I tell you, you be on the move, no doubt about it. Yeah, well, what would you like for people to do who are listening, again, we have a pretty diverse audience. And so what would you like for our audience to do to help support what you're doing?
We're down here in the Black Belt. So the Alabama Black Belt for Black History Month. We want to celebrate, acknowledge, and bring attention to a lot of the rich history that we have here in the Alabama Black Belt. So it's one thing to participate 1 week or 7 days during Jubilee of Black History Month, but people should come in from all over the world for the unique Black history that we have here in this area. So we want the people to have a Black history experience. So I'm going to put a challenge out there for a lot of folks. The historic Black high schools or the HBCUs, historic Black colleges and universities to come out to these locations to sort of give some acknowledgement to these guys. Then also to show your HBCU pride, wear your school colors. Okay? for this time of period. And I just happen to represent one school, the Blue and Gold.
And who is the blue and gold?
Huh?
I said, and who is the blue and gold?
I use these two words. Have you pride? Now I'm going to say 4 words. Have you pride? Is worldwide. Then blue and gold is how we roll. Roll down the road. And now I want to hear some acknowledgement for some of these other HBCUs to wear your colors and display your HBCU pride. I repeat, HBCU pride. Oh, your historic black high school.
Yeah, you've expanded it from not just historically black colleges and universities, but you're also doing historic black high schools.
That's correct. So we got a picture collage of a lot of those various schools throughout the black belt. So not just RBS. I know I might get a few people to say something. But what about Shiloh? Okay? How about Overhill? And then I know people out there listening. Let them come see this way and see a picture of this.
Well, Brother Bailey, we really appreciate what you do. I want to thank you again, for all of the work that you've been involved in. And I've got some things that will be posted over the next couple of days on the selmapostherald.com website to help support what you're doing. And Doc Hubert, he's another one. He's been there. He's been on with us since the beginning, huh?
Yeah, God has a servant's heart. And guess what? He's working diligently down there at that Chamber of Commerce in Lowndes County. One of the projects that they're really working on is, for all the listeners, let's hope that one of them have a medical event there in Lowndes County. But you know what? They don't have any healthcare facilities, emergency vehicles for the county. That's what they're working on.
Yeah, that's a real issue. I know that Governor Ivey has recently, Alabama Governor Ivey has recently formed a rural health committee, and they're strategizing. And I'm hoping that Lowndes County will be included in that strategy. I know they got some pretty good representatives that have ties to Lowndes County that are participating. So we're going to be pushing for rural health care solutions. That's something that really should be focused on. Not all this job. People be talking a lot of junk. I hate to say it like that, but when there's life and death issues involved with something as serious as having an ambulance service to serve some of these rural areas or a medical facility, or minimally with an emergency room.
Yeah. On one hand, that sounds good. They say they got this a committee, right? That sounds good. That sounds like blue sky promises. Let's see what's the result.
I know that's right. We got to see what's going on. Let's make something happen, huh?
Promises, overpromise, under.
Well, we're going to have to stay on it. We're going to have to stay on the wall, All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll be talking to you a little later on and over the next couple of days, and I'll cover as much as I can. I'm split in 1,000 different directions, but I'm gonna try to do a little bit of everything.
All right, well, listen, I'm sure you have some loyal listeners out there, and I can start naming names. All the foot soldiers, individually, collectively, and anybody that wants to pay a tribute to these guys, come on out.
Well, thank you so much. I know you got to get on. I know you got to get ready, to get ready for the Tuskegee folk. But thank you so much again, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you for what you're doing, Randy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, we'll be talking.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, have a good day. All right. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
How you doing, Randy?
Hey, what's going on? What's happening?
Well, that's what I want to come in and talk to some of the people about. There are some changes, and we like to bring them up to date on what we know about housing, the repairs, and the disaster relief, and that kind of thing. So, just schedule it's probably Friday of next week.
Oh, Friday of next week is good. What's Friday of next week? Is that the first? Yeah, Friday of next week is good, but it'll be 9 o'clock, you know, for Friday, because I'm not going to be on the air this Friday. I won't be doing Viewpoint this Friday, not a full Viewpoint.
All right, well, we just want to let the people know what we know about and how to get some help because a lot of things have changed. And so we just want to keep them posted and up to date.
Well, please do. You're welcome to come in, and I'm going to put you down on the calendar, not for this Friday, but for next Friday at 9 o'clock.
All right.
Okay? Okay, see you then.
Okay, bye.
Yes, sir. All right. And that was Mr. Dave Fulford with Central Alabama Housing. And, you know, they have been for years helping people make repairs to their homes. They really focused a lot on a lot of senior citizens and low income families. And they've made a lot of progress, but it's not over yet. And so, and the USDA is in the process of accepting applications on some projects. That home recovery effort initiative by ADECA has ended. They're not taking any more applications for that. But he'll be in on next Friday to give us the details on what is out there and what's available. Let's take a break. I don't know what has happened to my video feed on YouTube, but the audio is there. And when I go back and edit, I will add a photograph or two. Who knows? I may add anything on this YouTube. But anyway, that's another story. I got some other things to tell you about that's coming up that I'll be sharing with you in just a minute. But first, let's take this break, and I'll be back with more after these messages.
Big world out there, fast-paced and full of challenges. The last thing you need when you have a vehicle accident is more hassle on top of hassle. Wouldn't it be great if you could just go sit down and talk to Mom and Pop? Well, you can. Mom and Pop are alive and well at Auto Beauty Body Shop in Selma. Aaron and Cindy Grimes have owned and operated Auto Beauty Shop for a good while now, and they extend their caring family approach to their customers. Certainly, they have the latest multi-tech equipment and highly trained technicians, and they have an excellent relationship with all the insurance providers. But they have something no other body shop has. They have Aaron and Cindy, the Mom and Pop of vehicle body repair. A simple approach to discussing the damage, the estimate, and the factory quality repairs. Please drive safe, but if you have an accident, ask your tow truck driver to take your vehicle to Mom and Pop Auto Beauty Body Shop, 2001 Highway 14 East, phone 334-872-2248. There are currently no delays. They can get you in today and start your repairs right away. Losing loved ones is a most difficult time, a time when you need caring compassion. For over 5 decades, Randall Miller Funeral Service has provided ceremonies as unique as the life being remembered. The family first focus comes natural, as Miller Funeral Service is family owned, and they take every step to make sure that every effort to honor your loved ones in the most dignified way. Thousands in the Selma area continue to trust Randall Miller Funeral Service for affordable funeral, burial, and cremation services. Miller Memorial Gardens is the latest addition to their effort to reinvest in the Selma community. Call anytime, 24/7, 874-9081, or visit the website, randallmillerfuneralservice.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are visiting with David Halsey at APS Outdoors, formerly Alabama Power Sports. Jan done kicked him out of the house, and he is saying, I can't stand any more retirement. I got to go back to work. Well, I tell you, George, you can't just sit around and not do anything when you've been used to getting up and getting at it every day. But hey, we're back open, ready to serve you in every way that's in our category. Well, the good thing about it is you're carrying the bad boy line of quality mowers. You got them in all sizes. Yep, we got them all sizes. Also have some units that are at some scratch and dent specials. So come on, see us and see what kind of deal we can work up on ever what you need to cut your place, whether it's a little small yard or 10 acres. We can take care of it. All here at APS Outdoors on Citizens Parkway, as David always said. Come on and see us. When you need a tow, call a pro. Robert Turner at Al's Towing and Recovery. 874-9808. That's 874-9808. For Robert Turner at Al's Towing.
1490 WHBB, and I've had to use both of them, both Al's Towing and Recovery and Alabama Motorsports Outdoors. Mr. Halsey, I tell you, you can't find a better. You'd be hard pressed to get better service than with those two businesses. I had to take a point of personal preference or privilege. I'm sorry, personal privilege. Huh? Good morning to you. 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. Our president will be giving his State of the Union tonight, and listening to the various news reports and a few of the sound bites I was able to hear from him. Sounds like he's saying it's going to be a long speech. So if he's calling it long, I don't know. But it sounds like he's going to cover a lot of territory. You know, my mind is boggled when I listen to some of the narratives and some of the information. I don't know how any of our lawmakers could not make public safety a priority. I don't know how we could minimize the importance of being able to identify and isolate violent immigrants, illegal immigrants. And I stress illegal immigrants. Now, you know, and I don't have to tell you, you hear people when they call and some of the comments that are made. But for those of us who have said, well, you know, it's not a serious thing, look at what's happening in Mexico. You know, this latest it resulted this latest takedown of the latest cartel that resulted in the death of the gang leader. They found rocket launchers, military vehicles. In other words, the cartels in South America, in particular, well, like in Venezuela and Mexico, they're not like a normal street gang. They are paramilitary organizations now. And one of the reasons why the Mexican government had so much trouble was because, you know, their elected officials have been threatened, their lives and their families threatened. You know, and it's like when they talk about, well, you know, but the ICE agents, you should not have their faces covered. When they uncovered their faces, the drug cartels have put hit contracts out on them and their families. Why would we ask somebody to put themselves in that kind of a dangerous position without some sort of protection? It doesn't make sense. A lot of things going on, and I'm watching, and many of us are watching, that doesn't make sense, except it makes sense from the standpoint of, if I just want power, if I'm just interested in pure power and politics and money, I'm not interested in you or the welfare of the community or public safety. What's in it for me? That's that's the way I'm reading a lot of this. And then this whole thing about photo ID. The mayor of New York, who is an avowed and admitted socialist and communist, who is a staunch Democrat on the left of the Democratic Party, who say we think that requesting that people have photo IDs or birth certificates, which you have to have in Alabama anyway to register to vote, and they'll in the voter registrar's office will get that for us for free. There's no reason why you can't get one or not get registered to vote. But they say no, it's racist to request and require that a person have to prove who they are when they vote. But now, presently in New York, they're in the midst of a weather natural disaster with the blizzard that hit. And the mayor of New York now is saying, well, they need volunteer shovelers, help them shovel the snow, and they'll pay them $30 an hour. But the only thing is, you have to have 5 documents to prove your identification. 2 photo IDs. So on one, this is what you call hypocrites. One side says, well, you don't need a photo ID to vote. But if you want to get paid to help us, and we need help to clear the snow, you got to have 5 documents to prove who you are. How much sense does that make? Is that crazy or what? Well, no, I take that back. Maybe I'm just off base, huh? Maybe I say, oh, I'm being unreasonable. Maybe maybe I'm just way off base. I don't think so. Common sense tells me something is wrong. And it has it gives me the appearance or gives me the impression that somebody might be planning on cheating. Oh no, that doesn't happen in this country, huh? The dirty tricks department is alive and well.
Don't know what to do or where to go? Whether you need urgent care, primary care, or even family care, Primary Health Solutions is there for you at 913 Medical Center Parkway, right down from the Vaughan Regional Hospital. You don't need an appointment, just walk in or call 334-418-6700. Dr. Tyler Goins and nurse practitioners at Wood and Mac and Crane will get you in, evaluate your symptoms, and prescribe the right treatment to get you well soon. Primary Health Solutions, Medical Center Parkway, Selma.
1490 WHBB. Good morning on this Tuesday morning. Randy Williams with you until 9. And so yeah, if you can, you may want to tune in and let's see what our president has to say. And I'm sure he will tell us what he feels he's accomplished. It hasn't been 2 years. It's only been a year, But yeah, all of this the statistics are showing that inflation is down. Well, we know gas and eggs are down. And there's a few other things that are going down. This whole issue over tariffs, I don't know why people get so bent out of shape. Why is it that the United States, for the last 50 years or so, can have an unbalanced trade deficit with many of these foreign countries? And when we decide to do something about it, we're the bad guys. That's crazy. But anyway, I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I understand that unfortunately a lot of the narrative that's being driven by that we hear. They still legacy media is still out there, but they're losing a lot of audience, and they've already lost credibility for various reasons. There are 1 or 2 that have woken up and said, well, and they were trying to reverse the trend. It may be too late for some, but we'll see. That's the good news for me is that it's just a matter of time. Like Dr. King says, truth crushed to earth will rise again, and the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Okay, we're going to take another break, but before we take that break, I think we want to go over one more time some of the information that Mr. Burgess Bailey was giving us about what he's doing. it's a mobile display. It's a wonderful RV that he brings every year. I um, I worked with him from the first year on, and I remember that he only had a handful of names of foot soldiers, and that has gone from a handful to 1,500 names. You know, we forget, many of us, and some of us may not even know that on Bloody Sunday, people from all over the Black Belt made up that 600. And there wasn't a whole bunch of folk from Selma. I think about Reverend B.L. Tucker. He was honored, by the way, and was a speaker at the Queen of Peace church this past Sunday. I tried to go, and I was trying to set up, but was not able to set up, to make a long story short. And of course, I also have responsibilities here on Sunday mornings at the station, and so I was not able to do what I wanted to do. But every year, I learn more and more about Reverend Tucker and his role. You know, I don't know how many times he was arrested. There's there's a couple of famous photographs, and some of them you have to search for to get. It's interesting how, you know, if a person has a bad reputation, or they or anybody, people that are phony and hypocrites, and you can find anything on them almost, because they make it a habit to get in front of the camera. that's, that's their goal. But when there's something really significant, I have to dig for it. And one of the situations in photographs I had to dig for, I had to find, was able to find, was when Reverend B.L. Tucker and Worth Long were arrested along with 150 protesters at First Baptist Church in 1963. That's just one example, you know. And so I also remember the book at Old Depot Museum. Miss Jean Martin, years ago, before she passed, showed me the sign-in book at Good Samaritan Hospital. Because segregation was legal then, still being practiced, not only could blacks not go unless they worked, it was only one or two black people that even worked at the Baptist hospital. One of them was my grandfather, and the other was Miss Marie Foster. And every time I saw Miss Foster, she would say, you are so much like you. I used to love your grandfather. He was such a gentleman." But that's another story. But the doctors, it was, segregation was legal even when it came to doctors being able to provide service. And so what the doctors did is the white doctors went to Good Samaritan Hospital. And there was a book showing the doctors and the patients that they treated and where they were from. And along when John Lewis was beaten that Sunday, he was not alone. And the names read like a who's who of cities and counties throughout the Black Belt. And it was not a lot of people from Selma, but now GWC Homes provided the shelter for a lot of those people, and for a lot of the whites that came from all over the country to participate. They lived in GWC Homes. A lot of information still hadn't been told. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Good morning, Randy. How you doing?
Yes, sir. How are you this morning?
Good. I was listening to the news yesterday. Isn't it ironic the Democratic Party as a whole wants to stop people from showing ID to be able to vote? But New York City, to be able to go out and shovel snow, you have to have 5 forms.
5 documents, and two of them have to be photo IDs.
Isn't that ironic? That
it shows you who they are.
It shows you what they're for themselves, and your favorite caller called yesterday and said I always cut down the Biden administration. Well, you know, the Democratic Party is supposed to be for women and women's rights and all. And just say that they only let 10 million illegals over the border. And they say it was closer to 20, but just say it was 10, Randy. Half of them, 5 million, were women. They estimate, this is the government estimated, 60% of the girls and women were raped on that journey.
Well, we're all right with that, huh?
So can you imagine 3.5 million girls and women were raped, and we perpetuated by opening the damn borders and letting them in? How can we as human beings support something like that? All they had to do was close the borders down and stop it, and then come up with a solution. But Randy, as men, how can we let that? How do we let that go on? And under a guise of just let's flood the damn nation with illegal aliens because they're going to vote for Democrats and we're going to stay in power. We're willing to sacrifice children to stay in power. I don't know. I get really incensed and frustrated with it.
Yeah, but when you do that, then the first thing they'll do, their first line of defense is you're a racist for even suggesting that we let 10 million people, even though you know that we're about open borders, but you're the racist. And you're also a racist because you say a person needs to have a photo ID to vote. And what's his name, the governor of California, basically just said to what was supposed to have been a black audience that they can't read and write.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not racist or prejudiced.
Oh, no. Oh, no. You know, I don't know. At least President Trump, you know, the last year that Biden was in administration, been in office, 100,000 estimated overdoses in drugs, fentanyl in drugs. At least they didn't do anything to stop it. They were letting it flood over. How many boats have been blown up lately?
Well,
You know why? They're either left for the people to drive them because the Americans were sinking them and stopping the flow of drugs coming in through that avenue. At least he's doing something to try to help the people. You know, and he accused me of being against Biden. Well, Biden wasn't the president. We don't even know who was running the country. He wasn't.
well, how about everybody getting mad with Director Patel with the FBI because he drank beer with the hockey team in the locker room, but they were quiet as mice when they couldn't find out who left the powder cocaine in the White House.
Isn't that something? I don't understand how we have become a nation of blinded people and we only pay attention to what we want to pay attention to.
Or is it that's what's being reported? I kind of sometimes I think maybe it depends on what news source you listen to, and then unfortunately, even the ones that I had come to trust, I have to keep my eye on. All of them are not what they should be, So the news is really tricky these days.
I try to watch a little bit of all of it, but they all, even Fox News, they've got an agenda to it also.
It's not the Fox that it used to be.
It's not when we grew up, the three anchors that got on and presented news, and they didn't try to present an agenda.
Yeah, the Walter Cronkite's are gone, huh?
Oh, they're gone. They won't ever come back. And the people, we've got to wake up. I don't know. It's really like, I I voted for Democrats in the past, but that party does not represent anything I represent. When they want to lift up the homosexual and transgender communities, when they want to lift up abortion, that you know, killing 1 million babies, 60 million babies since Roe v. Wade, 60 million babies.
Well, they had a protest in Montgomery a couple of weeks ago, and I think the posters and the byline was a reproductive freedom, sexual freedom. I want the freedom to be able to have sex as much as I want, and not have to deal with the consequences. And if I want to have, or if I want to push the lady to have as many abortions as she's willing to, it's all right. There's no consequences, no morality. And as far as this male-female thing, do you know of any men that have menstrual cycles?
Not one. Not one. Not even Tampantino. Great.
Yeah.
You can stay cool the rest of the.
I'll try. Well, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. But we got so much territory. I'm just not going to be guilty of misinformation and pushing that unspiritual agenda. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, God willing. Yes, sir. You too. Let's take this break, and I'll be back with more right after these messages.
Banking the way it should be at First Cahaba Bank means you never have to worry about the season or the weather with online banking. It's always there and always on, 24/7, 365, even on holidays.
I'm Richard Walters, president of First Cahaba Bank, here to let you know that all of our online banking resources have been invaluable to our First Cahaba customers. Although our lobbies are open, personal and business customers have discovered how convenient and easy it has become to manage financial resources without having to come inside the bank. And all of our online services, including mobile banking apps, are free. Visit firstcahaba.com to get all of the information, or feel free to call any of our locations in Selma, Troy, or Gulf Shores for any questions or information. Banking the way it should be at First Cahaba Bank means we are constantly focused on the very latest technology for customer convenience and overall satisfaction. We would love for you to join our growing community bank family. First Cahaba Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Mr. McBride Drug appreciates the many loyal customers. They specialize in providing customer service. Insurance is always ever changing, and the staff at Filter McBride will take the time to help you with any questions you may have when it comes to your medicine and or your coverage. There are gifts for those special occasions, plus household needs too. The most important thing they do is fill your prescriptions quickly, accurately, and economically. Located 101 Broad, serving Selma since 1870. We're with Barry Parker at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC, where warmer temperatures are happening, and so are some pretty warm deals right now.
That's right, George. We invite you to come by and see us for all your transportation needs. Looking for a new Chevrolet or GMC with the warm weather coming, and we got some hot deals. We got specials going on with all the rebates and special financing on these new Chevrolet and GMC products. So if you're in the market, come by and see us.
One of the hottest automobiles on the market today is that Chevy Trax.
That's right, George. The good part about it, you can get in a brand new Chevy Trax for less than $25,000. So if you're looking for something to send your child off to college, or they're turning 16 and they need a first car, and you're looking for something that's quite good in gas mileage and fairly inexpensive, come by and check out the new 2026 Chevrolet Trax.
Now, let's get on up to the SUVs. It's got to be that Chevy Tahoe, one of the most popular SUVs on the road.
Chevy Tahoe or GMC Yukon, whichever one you're looking for, we can get you fixed up and get you riding today. And I tell you what, if you hadn't driven one, you need to come take a test drive. Just see how nice the Tahoe and the Yukons are.
And if you want the pickup truck, the Silverado or the GMC Sierra, different packages available, and you can get the right one here at Reliable.
That's right, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, small engine, big V8, or even a diesel. We got you covered. Come by and see us.
Reliable Chevrolet and GMC.
Located right here in downtown Selma at 14 Florence Street. right across the street from the post office, 872-2337, or check us out on the website at reliablegmc.com.
February is National Heart Month. Our hearts are healthier when we all work together. Several health conditions, your lifestyle, your age, and family history can all increase your risk of heart disease. Call Selma Doctors Clinic today at 874-9064 to make an appointment to ask your doctor the important questions about heart disease. Second, Dr. Daniel Clower and our nurse practitioner, Mary Elizabeth Schweitzer. Selma Doctors Clinic is located at 509 Parkman Avenue in beautiful downtown Selma. Give us a call today to speak to one of our friendly staff to get that important appointment on the books. Remember, if your heart is in the right place, the rest of you will follow. Selma Doctors Clinic, we're always here.
1490 WHBB, and the Panther Nation, Southside Panther Nation, is going to be in Montgomery this morning at 10:45 for the Class 3A South Regional Championship, and it will be Southside and Bayside. Bayside has been a thorn in our side, so hopefully Southside will correct that today. Go Panthers, huh? And you know, I've been working on the video featuring Cole Moody and Coach Charles Moody. It's a strange thing. You know, whenever I try to get, it seems like I have the greatest obstacles technically, and I've confirmed it over and over again when it comes to getting positive information about Selma. The technology on it starts acting up. But that's okay. I'm gonna find out. I'm working around it. I had a real nice video, but guess what? No sound. I don't believe in all these coincidences. That's why it's so important that we stay focused on being positive about our youth and about what we're doing in our community. Because I think that there are forces that don't want to see us do well, but that's okay. That's life. You know, I don't know, but in my case, that motivates me to do more. You know, the worst thing you can do is put me in a corner. You know, have just like some animals. You know, you back up in the corner, you got a problem. Otherwise, they don't. Otherwise, they don't bother anybody or anything. You know, even a small little animal can be dangerous. A squirrel. Well, I'm not going to talk about the raccoon. We know what raccoons can do, and cats. And the worst thing I've seen, though, the dogs that bark the most are usually the smallest. They're attack dogs. Anyway, that's another story. So there is some legislation passing through the Alabama Senate and the House that is going to require or prohibit being able to tell students about various methods of contraception. And people who are opposed to this say, well, you know, you need to educate the kids about every form of sex there is, and let them know how to have it and what to do and when to do it. And if you're transgender, if you're male, if you're female, you know, if you want to have sex from the ceiling, they need to know, because then they can make an informed decision. People who are for this legislation are pointing out that I think we rank 6 sexually transmitted diseases among teenagers is one of the 6 health issues. I think it ranked 6 in the state of Alabama. And so they're saying, well, you know, the opponents say, well, don't tell them not to have sex. Tell them what kind of sex is out there and let them decide. Common sense, folks. And lastly, I don't know if I stay on this transgender thing too hard, I'm homophobic. But again, my question is, I don't know or heard of or any documented scientific situation where a person born as a male has a menstrual cycle? If you know, please let me know. And then maybe I'd say, oh, that's something to consider, huh? Anyway, you have yourself a safe and enjoyable. That may sound crude, but things have gotten to the point I can only fight crude with crude sometimes in terms of information. Stay tuned for Fox News on WHBB Selma. It's 9 o'clock.
Much bigger reward in the Nancy Guthrie search. I'm Dave Anthony.
We are offering a family reward